and let them have dominion.
The kingdom of God is within people. It's the advancement of the people that is advancement
Because
of the kingdom.
faith must be backed by the assignment of this ministry is found from that verse where we.
You're onto a word encounter as Pastor David Ogbueli ministers God's word to you with simplicity and power. God bless you.
He created them to control the earth, to control the circumstances on earth, just like God controls the heavenlies.
Life is a balance between these 5 major areas. If you are going to be a successful person, you must constantly reevaluate your life in these 5 contexts. So if your faith, your spiritual life, your relationship with God is in a mess, you can't be a successful person. You can't call yourself a successful person, no matter how well you are doing in finances. But then when you have your faith in shape, the second area to look into will be your family. Actually, we mean your relationships. And when you get in there, it's in 3 order. First is your relationship with your spouse, then comes your children. Then you now extend it to your extended family and your friends. So, but your family. If you get into your faith, you see that God comes in. Your spiritual leaders come in. Your brethren come in. That church comes in there. You get into your health. It's another area. So sometimes we're pursuing money, career, but you notice that we're not looking at. We're neglecting our health. And it's something that once it breaks down or you lose it, you spend all the money you are making to buy it back, to get it back. So we may have, somebody like me, I know where my temptations come from. Usually water, drinking water. Oh, Dr. Kute has, when he sits on me on that, and I understand what he's talking about because he keeps explaining it and the thing is sinking. These days now, when I'm sleeping, there's water beside the bed. I wake up in the middle of the night. I'm taking this water. It's like taking drugs. I wake up early in the morning. I drink water. How can you be drinking water early in the morning? Sometimes before I brush my mouth, I drink water. What is that thing? Health is more important than money. That's how it is with this family issue. So you've made a wise decision to come out here to look into a very important aspect of your life. A very, very important aspect of your life, which also is more important than money. Is it your health? Is it your family? All those things come. Of course, if we arrange this in the order of priority, God normally comes first and money comes last. But you can see now, the way we live our life, when you get to your finances, you meet both your career and all of that there, your business and all of that. But we put all those things sometimes ahead of every other thing. We let it keep us from going to church, keep us from having a relationship with God. We let it keep us from attending to our health. We don't exercise. We become careless with our eating. We let it keep us from having a good marriage. And at the end of the day, it damages the most important things of life. You will never see a man on his deathbed and they ask him if he had opportunity to amend one thing, and they will say it is not making more money. It's always about relationship, or it's always about faith. Sometimes it's about health. Decisions he could have made maybe when he was younger that would have saved his life, made him live longer, or made him live healthier. Then of course your future. Everybody has a ministry, everybody has a destiny, everybody has a calling. Your life doesn't just end with you and your children and your family. You have a significance. You have something you're supposed to contribute to life. There is an assignment for you. That assignment was there before you were married. You were born with it. That assignment is very important, that it's also supposed to affect who you marry. And when you finally marry, the partnership of that marriage is not only for fulfilling, it's not only for intimacy and all that, it's also for partnership. The purpose of that marriage is to also help us fulfill our destiny. So, for example, in building a relationship with Pastor Sarah, it's also very important for me that she has time to attend to her faith. I cannot interfere with that. I don't have authority to do that. I can't give her a command not to serve God. I don't have that authority. It's like a husband saying, governor of Lagos State or the federal government declares a curfew in Lagos State. Then you say, no, I'm your head. I'm the head of this house. There is curfew, 7 to 6 a.m. I give my own decree. Go out there by 11 and buy me whatever. You don't have the authority you're exercising. It's like exercising money you don't have. You can't write a check on money that does not exist. You don't have the authority you're exercising. There are some of us that carry our authority beyond our boundary. Carry it and say exercising it in spiritual spheres. And we create problem. I don't have authority to start, But of course, if I see her going to error, maybe trying to join Mormon and all that, I will try, to make sure I prevent that. I will do my best to do that. But finally, you cannot exercise authority over another person's conscience. You can't. We are not allowed. Even God doesn't do it. If you notice that conversion is not by force, God has all power, all authority. But he doesn't force conversion. Neither can you. Now, for example, I'm a pastor. I don't force Pastor Sarah to pray. You don't do that. You can inspire her. You can encourage her. But don't start whining and complaining about, no, I don't do that. I've also found that the fact that we have to have family devotion does not mean I must. She also needs her own time. Because like health, her health is her health. She can't have her health for me. I can't have her. It's the same thing with faith. Faith cannot be borrowed. She must have her own growth. I make provision to make it. If I see good books, good tapes, I make it available. But, faith is not something I can have for her. It's not something I can lend her. She has to have it. It's the same thing with all these other areas. I can't dash her my health. I can help, encourage her to exercise. I can encourage, but so even though here two are becoming one, there are some things, there are non-transferable responsibilities in life. Marriage does not destroy your singleness. It doesn't. You are married, but you are still a single person, a separate person in that. It's like in a car. There are components that marry to make up a car. For example, a tire is there, the wheel, and all the other components, the engine. But it doesn't stop them from being who they are. A tire does not become a metal because it's married to a car. So marriage does not remove people's individuality. It doesn't remove people's identity. It doesn't remove people's callings. You don't destroy people's calling because they are married to you. Of course, one of the commitments you have is to encourage your spouse to fulfill their own destiny. So, because what makes marriages boring is when it becomes one-dimensional. In marital relationship, you can't have what you have with your wife with other people. You can't have it with another woman. If you're a man, you can't have it with another. So somebody said to me, is that not boring? Why would God? I said, no. Marriage becomes boring when it's one-dimensional. Don't only have love. Have purpose. Have purpose. Love is good. Have purpose. Have meaning. have something that you came together to achieve. I was using it to preach yesterday, talking to our pastors. I said, this man is changing the world. is saving lives, including my life and the lives of so many people. That's what is called significant. That's what is called purpose. The value your life is adding to others. You don't let marriage subtract from purpose. Neither do you also let purpose subtract from marriage. It's just a balance between all this. At every time, you can tell when an area is hurting. It could be health. It's hurting because it's neglected. It could be your relationship. It's hurting because it's neglected. It could be your faith. It's hurting. You are stumbling and all because it's neglected. It could be your ministry. When we have learned to balance, the art of balancing life, we learn the true art of success. That Bible talks about good success. That the book of the Lord, that book, the Bible, that if you pay attention to it and do what it says, you will have good success. Good success is the success that does not compromise one other aspect of your life in the pursuit of the other. That you are to have faith, a relationship with God, doesn't mean you should destroy your family. There are two books that are actually from beginning to end, two books that are songs. The first one is the book of Psalms. If you notice, the songs, they are written for God, for people's edification. They are prophetic, they are worship. The second one is called Canticles, Songs of Solomon. They are written for people. There is nothing there about worshiping God. It's songs that are written between husband and wife. They talk about sex there. They describe body organs, what channel E calls body parts. Very crazy channel. Yes, yesterday when we came back, we were flipping. It's a Benin program. He started with Bonke. We wanted to pick up. So he said, I don't know what, whatever body parts. And they will take lips. Then they will take butts. They will take, that channel. But there is a book in the Bible that writes about body parts. How can you have such a book in a holy? Now, in this kind of setting, this is not where you sing psalms or all those songs. This is where you do the other one. That's why the whole evening has been beautiful with the kind of things I'm seeing. But that also shows you how people, in the name of worshiping God, can spiritualize every other thing. And create imbalance and get harmed along the way. And probably somewhere destroy the excitement and the beauty and the love and the excitement that marriage should create, and it becomes such a boring thing that I've met a couple who said, I don't know, is Christianity supposed to be this boring that I can't have a life? They have faith, but they've lost life. They've lost life. Or I have money, I lost my health. Or in the pursuit of money, I lost my faith. Even some people in pursuit of ministry, their future, their destiny, their ministers, it happens to, they lose their family. They're pumping so much energy in that they don't have time for each other anymore. Songs of Solomon chapter 8. I want to show you a scripture. Set me as a seal upon thy heart. This seal is supposed to be in two places. First is in the heart. Then the second one as a seal upon your arm. This is the second one. This seal on the hand, it means is this. Anything that reminds you of your love and your commitment, people can see all that. But the one that makes marriage work is the other one, the one inside. That commitment towards the good of this person, to love this person, to always forgive this person, to remain with this person, no matter what happens. The secret of successful marriage is commitment. It's not love. This is the deception. That's what is killing people. That's what is ruining people everywhere. The secret of successful marriage It's not love, oh. It's commitment. If love alone can make marriage work, God would have said, once you fall in love, go ahead. And of course, like they are doing in America, if you just love a girl, you can just take her, have it, and then start. But like when you go to that society, notice that marriage does not last. Yet everything is built on love. The musicians are singing it. Their music industry, MTV, are singing it, and all that. Everything is built on love. Yet there is nothing they've built on that works, because marriage is not built on love. Love is to bring people together. And if you've been married a couple of years, you don't need to be told that the intensity of that love and that whatever that starts marriage normally wanes after a while. First, second child, something will definitely change. It will definitely change. I don't care how anointed you are and how holy you are. Neither do I care how. Something will definitely change. At that moment, marriage now moves into maturity. Love starts maturing, because we have talked about 3 types of love. There is the yellow flame love. It has a lot of passion, but it doesn't have. It just has intensity. It makes like bushfire, but very easy to quench. Little rain is gone. Little whatever. Even with wet blanket, you can cover it and it dies. So this place is talking about love that cannot be quenched. He said, set me as a seal upon your arm and upon your heart. For love is as strong as death. It's something that I laid my life down for this girl, for this man. Jealousy is as cruel as the grave. When love goes sour, the opposite is very wicked. You know, the grave does not care that this is the only man you love. He will take him for you. The grave does not care that this woman has only one child, and this child is the boy, the hope of this woman. Death will just collect him. Now, when he's talking about the grave, he's talking about death. People will be crying. You see the burial service, the funeral. This guy is so wicked, he collects that child and turns him to dust. The love that has died, that has gone sour, is that dangerous. That's why they talk about crimes of passion. It's something I'm going to show you this night that will help you not to ignite the other negative side, because love is like a two-edged sword. People kill for love. And people kill the person they love. And while they're killing the person, they still love the person. Love can make you do bad things. It's not the God kind of love. It's the human type of love. Is the flame, yellow flame type of love. It has intensity. You know, when you're pursuing a girl, that's what most of the time drives you. That is not the love God is expecting you to build your marriage on. See, he said, the coals thereof, whether it's of love or of jealousy, the coals thereof, the flames thereof, are coals of fire, which has the most vehement flame. Now, when it comes to the real love that is as strong as death, the flame is most vehement. There are 3 types of flames: yellow flame, blue flame, and white flame. Yellow flame, you get them from basic fuel like wood. If you see a forest burning, any of this decayed organic, any of these dried up organic substances burning, and then even fuel, bitumen, the one we use to power our gen, what do you call it, diesel, all those ones, they have a lot of soot. They leave a lot of black substances behind. Yellow flame or yellow love is easily hot. It gets offended easily. Is human love, natural human love. We have it for the person and we fall in love, but that's how easily the person can hurt us. That's how easily we can get hurt. And that's how easily that love too can turn to a destructive thing. It can turn to hatred. It has a negative side, the jealousy side, that sometimes is very Sometimes he's unforgiving. Sometimes he's sarcastic. Sometimes he's very, very, as natural human love. It's usually based on me, self, my expectation. He's not meeting my need. The reason he leaves people, he disappoints people, is his own expectation not being met. He doesn't really know genuine commitment, because genuine commitment is based on the other person, not based on you. Things might happen that my expectation is not met, but because genuine commitment is a decision to stay true to this person, to love this person, to care for this person, to protect this person, no matter what. That type of love is white flame. Water does not stop that kind of fire. Like oxyacetylene flame, the people that do welding. There are other types of flame, like radiations. Some radiations that can come in here, like X-ray. You don't stop it with water. Like the kind of fire that is coming from the sun into the planet Earth, you don't quench it with rainfall. There's a love that is that pure and that strong. It's as strong as death. Actually, stronger than death. It's selfless. When you are in the arms of that kind of love, you're protected. You are safe. You can take it and put it in the bank. The most vehement flame. Now, it now tells you in verse 7, many waters cannot quench love. The first type of love, water can quench it too, just like you see it in the bush. The last type of love, which is the type that God has, the type that took Jesus to the cross. That type that can even sacrifice my life for you. That type. Ephesians chapter 5 says, husband, love your wife as Christ loves the church. He's talking about this type. He said, and that type of love Jesus had for the church made him to take an imperfect woman. Then he starts washing her by the washing of the water by the word, that he might present her to himself, a perfect woman, what he calls a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle. He said, husband, love your wife as Christ loved the church, to the point of laying his life down for her. And it's vice versa, of course. It's vice versa. Because later the scripture started asking us to also lay down our life for him, just like he laid down his life for us. So it's vice versa. It's that type that can handle the many waters of life, which is what I want to examine a few of them, maybe 1 or 2, 3 this night. The waters that come against marriage. When we are pledging our love, when we are falling in love, we don't expect these kind of things to happen. So that we hear that they happen to some people. Can you imagine that they're separated? You always have something in your mind. It cannot happen to me. You heard that some people fought. Hey, he said, no, not this guy. He can't beat me. He so loves me. He said, you heard some people were childless. He said, it can't happen to us. No, hey, no way. Even when I was born again, I used to impregnate girls. I just touch them, just like this. They get pregnant. Next thing, I'd send them to do abortion. How can I? Don't expect. But all of a sudden, 1 year passes. And then we visit the doctor. And I was expecting it to be the other person. And then they check it's me. And if I find out first, I probably don't want to start protecting. I don't want him to know. It has low sperm count. No. It cannot happen to me because I'm a KK. I'm the king's kid. I've given my life to Christ. Christianity does not immune you from problems. It only guarantees you that you can conquer it. if you imbibe the right stuff. Jesus said, the sun comes on the good and the bad, and the rain falls on the good and the bad. So it's not that you are immune, it's just that there are many afflictions that come on the righteous, but the Lord delivers them out of them all. But when we have false expectation and think that such things cannot happen and all that, then it shocks us and sometimes knocks us out of our feet. That's why there are certain things you take for granted. You just conceived and had a baby. You don't know that there are many people, there are hundreds of thousands of them who couldn't just do that. There are some who stayed 15 years before they had their first child. There are some who had one and they could never have it again. And there are good people. There are ministers of God. There are God's children. There are bad people too. There are all types of people. And it doesn't mean that they lived a bad life. There are virgins who could not conceive. There are men who never chased a woman who could not impregnate a woman. And there are reasons for that. Some people had infection. They didn't have knowledge. They didn't treat it on time. Some people had some other problems in their system. Some people had, it's not all demonic. There are cases where evil spirits are involved. You don't come and give one diagnosis to all sicknesses like some people do, pastors. Everything is, and you're doing justice to people and create more harm for them. Many waters. So when your marriage faces the many waters, in-laws, financial issues, many waters cannot quench love, neither can the floods drown it. You have to know the type of fire he's talking about. This type we normally start relationship with cannot stand the floods of life. If a man will give all the substance of his house for love, it will be utterly condemned. That type of love cannot be bought with money. It cannot be bought with money. It cannot be bought with money. Let me show you something. Look at verse 8. I've picked up what I needed to show you, but we have a little sister. She has no breast. What shall we do for our sister in the day when she shall be spoken of? Probably a teenager now, but of course she's developing. The day guys start coming for her. If she be a wall, we will build upon her a palace of silver. If she be a door, we will enclose her with bars of cedar. That is, she's already a door. It's not allowing people to open and pass. We'll go and buy burglar proof and put. What is all this protection? If, then he said, I am a wall and my breasts like towers. Then was I in his eyes as one that found favor. When they first catch us, look at everything here is standing. How many babies does it take to lower it? One. And you better believe it, we guys appreciate the standing ones. So sometimes when I advise couples, at least have 1 year before the kids. But that advice cannot be, I say one diagnosis or one cure cannot be given to everybody. Some people married, they are already advancing age. They don't have time to wait, because the more you move on, the more challenges this issue about childbirth poses on the health of the woman. So they don't have, but usually when they are more young, I tell them, slow down. This baby thing, baby. Go and ask questions about contraceptives and family planning. At least have 1 year before. Because once a baby arrives, it's going to change whatever with that relationship. It won't just be us anymore, it will be we. You have to expand. So, I'm a wall, my breast like towers. Then was I in his eyes. Solomon had a vineyard of a Bahamon. He let out the vineyard unto keepers. Everyone for the fruit thereof was to bring 1,000 pieces of silver. Let's look at why when bad things happen to good marriages, why does this happen? No marriage, no matter how good, is immune to bad things. Anybody telling you is lying. The difference is that some people have learned how to handle it, while others have not. So we all suffer private problems and sometimes public pitfalls. Some people are not fulfilled sexually. Some is financial problems. Some it is unmet expectations, deferred hopes. Some is communication problems. Some addictions. And it could be to TV, it could be to someone that is pornography, could be other things. He said, does this happen to Christians? Yes. Some is anger, problem of managing emotion and all of that. Some pain, whether big or small, these things interfere with the kind of happiness we want to have in our home. Yeah. So who among us can claim to have been so lucky in love that nothing has ever jolted our relationship? You remember the scripture we read? Many waters. There are many. Floods. These are the problems that come against marriage. But you heard that there's a type of love that the waters cannot quench, that the floods cannot drown. That's what we need to learn how to build now. Not that this is happening. No, these things happen. It happens in every home. Who amongst us is so skilled, so good at loving or in this art of love that not one bad thing has ever interfered? There is nothing in the world worse than a bad marriage. At the same time, there is nothing better than a good one. Continue, my dear. When couples vow, take their marriage vow, they dedicate the rest of their lives to the pursuit, discovery, enjoying of their love life. Without love, there will be no wedding. Certainly no marriage. Love is what drives us to make the commitment. Love is what ensures that every marriage starts out good. But can you see that big stuff on top? Love is not enough to make a marriage work. Is usually the capital we need to start. If you don't have it, you probably will not be married to that person. So when things go wrong, don't say it's because he didn't love me, I didn't love him. It's not love. Marriage needs love plus. Couples that are honest, they make this discovery after a while that love is not enough to make this work. But because most people have built their confidence on love, they now get disappointed. In fact, the loss of love is always given as the major reason for divorce. Love, while being a good catalyst for marriage, cannot sustain it alone. Continue. Myths about marriage. One of the lies, there are a number of them, but it's one major one. People believe that everything good in this relationship will get better. Everything will not get better. Some things will get worse. The earlier you learn that one, the better. I'll give you an example. If I look at Pastor Eric now, and if I can see your dad, if the hair has fallen off, as his wife, you better start planning for that. There's no to it. Look at Barrister, flat tummy. Don't worry. After the first baby, it'll be second. Women want the tummy to remain flat, and we appreciate when we see the single ones, especially the ones you see on TV. Shakira, JLo. So there are some things that we're not. There are just some things. Look at what aging does to people. That one alone. That handsome guy you married, or the goddess. After a while, age will start drawing some special maps, some wrinkles. So when you have this kind of might now, you just build your house on a faulty foundation, and these things lead to disappointments. Continue. For starters, marriage means coming to terms with new limits on one's independence. This is another one. Some level of freedom you used to have before, that this thing will curtail. It means giving up a carefree life. Marriage is continually bombarded by unpredictable instances that interfere with being the kind of lover we want to be. We are torn apart by busy schedules. Words we wish we could take back. In short, by not giving all that love demands. Love asks for everything. Not just for a little bit, but a whole lot, but for everything. And how hard it is to give everything. No one, no matter how loving, can stand up to the test of not only giving everything one owns, but everything one is. So be certain of this. You and your spouse will not only face that test, you will fail many times. And of course, somewhere along the line, you start maturing. More of you will start. Like, look at Jesus Christ. Look at. Oh, all of you and none of me. I see. What the scripture says, more of you and less of me. So that's how Christian growth occurs. To say you have reached a point where it's all of him, none of you. Of course, we should all bow down and start worshiping you now, because you can be the next Messiah. You can become the next Messiah. That's with God, or you don't think about human being. But that's what the call of marriage. That's the demand of it. To be less and less of self as I relate to this other person. And we're supposed to be making that progress. If you are not, So husband and wife get hot in love. Bad things happen. A good marriage is built by two people who have capacity to adjust to bad things. In this 21st century, this is the truth that we need to start telling young couples again, and they will succeed. What is knocking off your marriage that's making you want to run away? Your parents face worse things and they stayed. It's false expectation. We are painting this whatever picture of something that is not real. So when two people have a little problem, they think they are facing something that is out of the way. Are you people hearing what I'm saying? We need to prepare this generation of families to really know that there are some realities in this thing. Yeah. And it doesn't have to spoil your joy. It doesn't have to spoil your fun either. What makes a marriage work? Look at these 5 elements. First, responsibility. Two people who take ownership for the good as well as the bad. When two couples make up their mind to become responsible, based on what we've been discussing, they take responsibility. They take responsibility for both the good and the bad. I know we are all going to change. I know. When a baby comes, don't start blaming the woman, or don't start. 2 of us made this baby, and the baby is going to put a new demand. Don't take off and say the man doesn't love you anymore. The baby is going to change 2 of you. Once that we make this, make a decision to take responsibility, to take ownership of this, and not to blame anybody for it, they automatically make that marriage work. They will face the same thing, but they come out better. Of course, second thing here is a positive attitude. Who, no matter what happens, always believes in a better future. They keep expecting the best, that things will finally get better no matter what. People start thinking about running away when somewhere in their mindset they can't see a way out. It's not just a matter of seeing a way out. They don't ever expect anything. Your expectation affects how you live your marital life. The third is empathy. What we're talking about here is putting yourself in your spouse's shoes. This is what helps you forgive him more even overlook many things. Actually, that reversal of roles in your mind does wonders. Love, Jesus said, do to others as you want them to do to you. It helps, especially if you are the judgmental type, the critical type, the fault-finding type. It just helps you to carry yourself and put in other person's role. So it creates empathy, helps you to understand and to really feel for the person. So that's another thing that helps. The fourth one is forgiveness. Ask your parents. Successful marriage. When you see couples who have stayed 15 years, stayed 20 years, stayed 25 years, these are couples that have learned to forgive each other. If you're the type that count things and keep records, forget it. You just keep forgiving and throwing them. Next time is like, you just keep rolling them. That's the secret of marriage. And that's the secret of relationship with God. If you have been a Christian for a while, you know that to remain a Christian means God has forgiven you a lot. A lot. That is how you stay married. That's how you stay married. 470 times a day. Then you roll that day away. Next day, you have new checks. It doesn't matter what you do today. 490 times, 70 times 7. Next day, fresh ones. Like God, he said, the steadfast love of the Lord never fails, for his mercies are new. What? He doesn't say, I forgave you 200 times last week. You want to try me again this week? If God is like that, we'll all be finished. He just gives you fresh. That's how you have a successful relationship. The last, of course, is commitment. We've said that people who make it are people who stay committed, not necessarily because there's flame of love every time. No, they stay committed. And guess what happens? When love goes through winter, it finally comes back to summer. When it goes through autumn, it finally comes back to spring. Because even relationships have those four weathers. So sometimes emotions can go haywire. Guess what? It comes back. The clouds clear. Everything becomes bright all over again. But commitment is what keeps people through the storms and through the different changes of life. Okay, why every good marriage bumps into bad things? Then why bad things happen to good marriages? We're going to look at 3 or 4 reasons. And the first one you can see is unfulfilled expectation. I'll probably take this and maybe the next and let you go. But when I discuss just 2 of them, it will definitely catch every one of you. Why is it that you are frustrated? Why is it that inside you sometimes you think about leaving this person? Why is it that this thing that started so well, you are feeling like sometimes you ask yourself, did I make a mistake? You see some people in love, they can dare their parents, even ignore their pastors. This person you were ready to, next time you are nurturing the idea of what is going on. Let's examine what causes those things. This is the first one. There's a fly in the ointment of every good marriage. It is a disease-carrying insect of unmet expectation. It leads to very serious disappointment. Consider what causes you to experience disappointment. It's usually because your spouse has failed to fulfill your expectations. You had it all set up in your mind, the way your partner should be romantic with you, the way he or she will celebrate your birthday, make decisions with you. Watch this one. You had it all set up in your mind, many a time, even before you married. Many times long before. Some of these were formed by movies, some by childhood expectations or things you want, some by books, How your partner will be romantic with you, the way he would celebrate your birthday, the way he will make decision with you, that he will first consult you, ask for your opinion, the way you will have dinner together, the way you will spend your weekends, and other scenarios you have envisaged. And then after marrying this guy, it never materializes. All those wishes just fell like that against the hard realities of life. Just go on. Have you seen how the love starts shaking? How wahala starts? That's what happened to many couples. For many years into their marriage, the wife sometimes, for example, unknowingly continues to drive a wedge between their relationship as she keeps creating problem, making this thing widen up instead of people growing together, because she doesn't realize that she married an illusion of her own making, a husband that would think, feel, and behave exactly as she expected. The point is that expectations, even the seemingly insignificant ones, leads to problems when they are continually unfulfilled. Have you seen why it is said that one of the most important requirements for a successful marriage, when we talk to singles, is not looking for the right spouse, is being the right spouse. Part of what we're talking about being the right spouse is the person that all these expectations convert it to what you will do for the other person, not what you are going to expect for him. Forget about the you end, and start the agape, the God kind of love, which is the one that gives, not the one that looks for. Believe me, to make marriage work, it's more important to walk in love than to fall in love. You're falling in love already. That's why you are married. Forget about falling in love. You don't need that. What you now need is to what? Walk in love. Many of us erect mental images of almost every facet of our relationship, unrealistic, unfair, bias, and otherwise. And these phantom images then become our inner focus. They steer our emotions and have the potential to set us up for failure. Not because we are fundamentally mismatched, but because our unmatched expectations lead us there. Can you imagine the lady expects he will carry flowers, he must call me 3 times for work. People like me, I don't call like that. Yet I'm a good guy, I'm telling you. I don't call like that. You must write notes and put it under the pillow. If you know how to do it, please do it. Especially if you're you know. But see, these things steer emotions. So this is something you are getting frustrated. The other person doesn't even know what is wrong with you. You expect him to read your mind and become a magician and just know what you want. Meanwhile, a simple thing helps to start solving this problem. Communicate. Okay, this is how I like you to touch me. Guy bolts away and turns to the other side and rolls away. Sleep now, you won't sleep because you are frustrated. And then if you had Ada before in your life, you start thinking about her. What did I get myself into? You have a good marriage. What you need is to communicate. Some of the things you're going to communicate will not be met. Don't marry people to change them. Marry people to accept them the way they are. That's what love does, true love. Love is not about enlarging your appetites, what another person will do for you. Love is about enlarging your responsibility, what you will do for the other. Okay, now look at this. After all, we have staked everything on this person we married. We have defined our very selves in terms of this choice, this particular relationship. We eventually learn that this person is not what we expected, or at least what we wished. Expectation both big and small, both realistic and unreasonable, plague countless couples. Let's make this clear. Bad things happen to good marriages when we expect our partner to think, feel, behave the way we want them to. We won't change this expectation even over time. When we make a decision, we keep expecting them to behave the way we want them to and not willing to adjust our expectation. It's just something in your mind, though. Losing it up. Losing it up. It can mess up a whole marriage. When this occurs, each unrealistic expectation is like a link in a heavy chain that increasingly binds us to disappointing marriage. That's this one he didn't do. He hooks up another time, another one. It keeps linking up and creating this thing that finally one day somebody wakes up and tells you there's no more love. I don't love him anymore. And you ask her why. I just don't love him anymore. I cannot stay here. The many waters of unmet expectation has drowned your yellow flame of love. Yellow flame love. Okay. Let's look at a few more things. For some couples, the omission of, look at this one, unexamined selves. You said that there are 4 aspects of our being. They reveal you. Explain those 4 aspects. I want to show you 2 aspects that can cause you very serious problem in marriage. You say there are 4 aspects to us.
Yes, sir. You have the blind you.
The blind you.
That you that you don't know, everybody else can see it except you.
Okay.
You have the hidden you.
The hidden you.
That aspect of you don't want anybody to know.
Take note of these 2. These are the 2 that causes trouble. There's a blind you, a part of yourself you don't see. Your spouse sees it. You're the only one that don't. Then there's another part that you hide from every other person. You know it, the hidden you. You know that these things are going on. For example, an affair. You keep it from others. These are things that cause wahala. Then the other 2.
Okay. Then you have the revealed you.
The revealed
you that you know and everybody knows, and you're free to talk about it. Like
the you that you know and everybody knows.
This
Everyone
is my
knows.
best color. This is the kind of car my husband likes to.
This is where he works.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Then there's the unrevealed you. This you don't know it. It's only God that knows it.
It's a part of you that God
can shock
only.
you.
That includes your purpose, what you're going to become in future, and other people don't know. That part sometimes can pose a challenge when suddenly they start happening. Your destiny. For example, all of a sudden, young guy you married, you never expected him to be a politician, all of a sudden becomes a governor. By some. For some couples, it's a happy. For some, it becomes a challenge. All of a sudden, you just married the guy who was a banker. Next thing, he becomes a pastor. Pastor, okay. Me, I don't want all this pastor, people counseling, sisters. I just wanted a private. But God saw that person, and that's where he was going. That's why I said everybody has a destiny, a future. You have not finished. We have not finished discovering who you are. There's still a lot of more things that will happen in your life. But let's talk about the part that causes problem. So you see, the unexamined self, if you have not really taken time to study yourself, ask other people who also understand you to tell you a few things, you'll be living, sometimes you'll be assuming some things. For example, this causes a lot of marriage problems. Unexamined self leads to 2 major problems that mess up a good marriage. The first is what we call the blind self. The other is the hidden self. Let's look at blind self, for example. Go up. This is made up of all the things known by your spouse, but not known by you. Listen very carefully now. This might be where your marriage can begin to regain its balance. Have you ever been in a public setting, for example, in a party? You get something, a paint on your shirt or your face or something, a smog. Maybe it's food or something, lipstick. Somebody hugged you and left a mark, and it happens to everybody, this kind of thing. But not everyone will point out the problem. Sometimes your friends will see and just be smiling at you. They don't want to. But of course, it is embarrassing to most people, but not your spouse. He or she will waste no time in telling you what you don't know about your appearance and how to correct it. And usually you'll be grateful. Am I correct? For all that, because, But now here is the problem. Because they're able to show us this and we can see it, we appreciate the correction. But in living the married life, there are many things about you don't know, that the other person needs to help you to conquer. And guess what? The moment they raise it, you react. Hey! Wahala! How dare you insult me? There are two sides to this issue. One is that the person that speaks is pointing it out. The Bible says, speak the truth in love. The way you say it. The reason we sometimes don't remember to say it in love is because whatever is happening is also affecting us. I've never seen anybody who is snoring that I agree that he's snoring, because you snore when you are asleep. So by the time they wake you up, you are not snoring. So I don't snore. What are you saying? Stop it. If you don't want to stay here, go sleep in a parlor. How will you know if you are snoring if you go listen to another person? And now because that one disturbs another person from sleeping, if care is not taken, the frustration can get to a point they now lash out instead of saying it. I've noticed that when you lie this way, you don't really snore. So please, can you just stop lying on your back? Because when you lie on your back, doc, what is that thing that they say that flaps down? Is it like there's a valve in the nostrils or what? The trachea or what? The pharynx. It goes down. And then to breathe, there are more friction and all that. Some will even join with their mouth. There are many things like that. How you talk. We are a product of nature and nurture. We left heaven clean, but our environment shaped us. Depending on where you grew up. If you grew up in the village, you grew up in Benin, you grew up in Onitsha, you grew up in Lagos, Lagos. Maybe at a particular stage of your life, you're associated with Aboros, you won't know that you picked up certain things. You married this handsome man, you married this lady. And these things are, if there is a mirror in life to show it to you, you will really feel bad. You will correct it. And all you need to adjust is use the other person as your mirror. Give the other person the liberty to be honest with you about things. But you let it, these are the things that start wahala. It's eating. This pounded yam. You don't put the first one. You think you're quarreling with your wife until the day you go out for dinner. You won't know why your friends don't want to eat with you. You won't know the kind of disgrace one day you'll be in presence of big men. Yeah. And it's a habit. You have cultivated it. But do you know it can be changed? If you see how bad it is, you will change. But you can't see, because the blind self is that part of you. Just like you can't see the back of your head. You just can't. You don't have 10 eyes. You have 2. So how do I see what is here? I need my wife to look at it, and I trust what she tells me. And sometimes it hurts my ego, but I accept it. But I know she loves me. But also, what we should also learn is to say it nicely. You have to learn that skill of, especially when you're talking to the men. Men, sometimes this their ego thing, The guy is a rough driver. He's the only one that doesn't know. And yet he was the first to curse the other man, curse the other man. But the other person sitting by the side can tell. Can't you see that you are the one that bumped into, that you are supposed to wait? You probably raise it out of frustration. Quarrel start, a good evening is spoiled, and you are going out for a date, for a dinner. And by some ladies, by the time you break whatever, you just keep quiet. You just, okay, she's no more talking, but there's problem in the air. You remember that house you want to buy? She won't say anything. You're not talking to me? You want to spoil this evening? I just asked you for advice now on whether to give my mother this money or what. You just keep quiet. He said, I don't want to say. If you want to give your mother money, just give her money now. Do I have to? So talk, wahala. No talk, wahala. Love is a very serious thing. It's a what you may not appreciate, is when your spouse does the same thing for personal problems. You rather not admit. For example, you are quick-tempered. Your spouse might just say that, or he will say something like, you sometimes come off as insensitive. You say, what? How dare you try to tell me about myself? And then some people will start cursing each other's mother, calling other people's name. So whenever people hit our tender spot, it's like touching a wound. We immediately put up our guards and raise our defenses. Yes, defending ourselves might be natural. It sometimes goes against our grain to hear information about our dark side, the part of us we wish weren't true. This very information is vital to the life of your good marriage. Let me give you an example. You may consider yourself a good listener, but something about your listening style can irritate people. Sometimes this blind self hides behind what we think we're even doing well. As tough as it may be to hear, your spouse can show you a part of your blind self and help you change your behavior as well as your marriage for the better. For example, this listening thing. There are people who say they're good listeners, but the moment you just start talking, they finish up the sentence for you. And what is irritating is that they are wrong. The conclusions they are making. So, without knowing it, the guy does not know that he is impatient. He doesn't have patience to listen. So what he does is he just poses like a good listener and then helps you finish it up. There are other bad habits like this, like people are talking, you just cut in. And part of learning communication skill is learning to listen. That's part of what you give to the other person in love. You are that person, you can tell, and all that. But those who have ears to hear a timely critic from, their partner, reduce their blind spot. Those that don't live a life of denial that is bound to interfere, not only with good marriage, with many other areas of their life, relationship with others, both in the workplace and the other. Your partner is your accountability partner also. Your spouse is your accountability partner. He's not supposed to see you with one funny stuff on your face and you carry it to the public, get disgraced without letting you know. That's how it is with character flaws, with little things. Person is supposed to help you see the other side of yourself. It takes humility and meekness. It also takes grace in communicating it. It takes those two ends. Okay, the hidden part, let's conclude with it. Okay, there's a question here which is good. Take a moment right now to ponder this important person. What will make me a better spouse? You ask your spouse. When you learn to ask that question, what will make me better? A better husband to you? What will make me a better wife? That means that kind of question gives the other person the right to tell you a few things that you can improve on. And it should be vice versa. During seasons like this, apart from just saying I love you and all that, if you truly want to love the way God wants, you can ask your spouse, I want to make you happy. I want to be a better person for you. Is there anything I can improve on? Is there anything I can? And the person will tell you, and it's the other way around too. Those things make marriages better. Okay, continue. I just want to end. The hidden self. A second major problem that results from lack of soul searching is found in what we call the hidden self. This is everything that is known by you and not known by your spouse. Each of us has a natural built-in desire to be known, but we often stifle our vulnerability out of fear. I don't know what he would think about me. I don't know how he will see me. I don't know. For example, a lady was talking with me. She enjoys sex and all that, but she won't express. Let this man think that she's a bad girl because she has been. You met her in church. This guy thinks that she won't ask for her needs to be met. He might begin to think I'm wide or something. So we have little fears. We don't know how people will see us. Because of that, we keep hiding things. For example, look at this. We are afraid of being seen as too emotional or not emotional enough. We are afraid of being seen as too assertive or not assertive enough. We are afraid of rejection, even from the person who loves us the most. If you knew the real me, he will never love me, we say to ourselves. Some people are even afraid that the person might leave them if he knows some. So what is the result? We hide parts of ourselves from our spouse to protect us against potential rejection, whether it is real or imaginary. Let me tell you how this harms marriage. Why you are hiding it might look like all that. But if there are things that the man will finally discover one day, it's better that he hears it from you than he hears it from. Somebody said, I'm not going to let him know he had a baby. Yeah, the parents took care of it, took the baby somewhere, But you know how some of those things come up. Okay, I impregnated a girl before I came after you. But, I didn't marry her and the girl traveled abroad. What is the use hiding? What are we hiding? One day it just comes up. I'm the type of person that, I had this relationship with this man. Okay, don't tell me all these details and all that. And you better be careful asking too many questions because some things are better not heard. Okay, you're not a virgin, you are not. I know that. So there's no big, I had a relationship with my, To start telling me I don't like hearing. Leave me with things. My minds are clean. Don't. Some people like. Go on. I want to just. You'll be wondering what kind of hiding we're talking about. It's not so much about dishonesty, even though sometimes it's part of it. It's about vulnerability. It could have to do with anything, big or small. Maybe you don't even confess that you lost some money, for example. Probably lost some money. You don't want to confess because the person might look at you like, are you a fool? You don't tell your partner that you have serious doubt about God for fear of he or she looking at you as, are you a carnal Christian? So even you too. You know, sometimes there are areas where it looks like you're walking in water, you have faith, you're facing challenges, but you can't. You keep a dark secret about being sexually abused as a child for fear that your spouse will view you as dirty. The longer you keep the secret, the more locked up you become, until you are even hiding parts of yourself for yourself. That's when you wonder why your good marriage has turned so bad. Because your hidden self is keeping you from receiving the love you're longing for. Let me say this. There are some things that you should only talk with God about and accept His forgiveness and let it go on. Because if you don't, they have a way, guilt, all those things have a way of disturbing people's marriages. There are some things people have gone through in the past. Maybe someone was raped or whatever. That requires also forgiving so you can be healed. Sometimes people don't do it and it stays there. So you keep punishing Paul for Peter's sin. There's some things you see that go on in marriages that are the result of this hidden self. Go on, I just want to. People's secrets are always locked away in their hidden self. The blind self can drive us to denial, but hidden self can move us to suspicion. They both distort reality. And they can cause good marriages to get bumpy. You know, like men, you get pulled to pornography. Let your wife know now. What is the big deal? Before it lands you into the real trouble, what happens is, you get attracted to this lady in the office. You know it's happening. Tell her at home, there's this lady in my office, she's been hanging around me, and I noticed that day I felt so tempted. There's something about temptation. The power of evil is secrecy. The weakness of evil is disclosure. Once you can talk about that thing, the power to conquer it comes. Once you keep hiding it, the power. Women are more frightened about this. My boss. And that, the problem is that, I don't know, the man just keep complimenting me, and I'm beginning to like him. Depending on who you're married to, because you see, there's also another side to this issue. Sometimes we need to balance it. You have to understand who you are married to, but sometimes it's not about who you're married to. People are just afraid in themselves. Some people are not good at handling certain things. But we need to grow. You need to start raising such issue. At least the possibility that my boss is beginning to, and you talk about it. You just discuss it. Sometimes he goes after me this way and all that, And I take my stand in that office. I let him know that, but other times he gets overbearing. And people discuss it. It gives you power. There are marriages that have grown to that point where you can even tell, I'm beginning to like the girl. You need to have that kind of marriage. Yes, I'm telling you. I told Pastor Sarah, I said, it's better for you and I that if my eye is beginning to move in one direction, that I can talk about it, discuss it with you. You don't have to start reading too much or get whatever, go off. It's better, it's safer for everything. for both of us. Because once we can talk about it like that, talk about it, the power of that thing, demystify, evaporates. But it's when you are hiding it, it gets stronger. It gets stronger. It gets stronger. And then it starts knocking you out. But I will also say this. I've also found out that, after years of working with God, I've also found out that there are just some things about life, just some things about us, that we better settle with God on his altar and leave it there. Because there are just some things that people start talking about, they create more damages and cause more harm than good. Take note of that. You should know where the balance is. There are just some things that you better go to the altar. And that's why I said that even in coupling, God still gave us the right to be ourselves. When it comes to conscience, no other person has authority over your conscience. It's only a sanctity, what you call the holiest of holies of your life, that is reserved between you and God. You can let people in there, but not by force. Because I've also seen people who mismanage certain information and they created more damage. Somebody created so much problem, but ultimately bigger problems come from hiding the truth that should be known than by disclosing it. Bigger problem come that way. I don't know if you learned anything. Did you? What if I ask you to do these two exercises? We're going to continue tomorrow. What are some of the expectations you have that are not being met, that is causing frustrations for you? You need to ask that question and sit down to analyze what they are. You expect him to buy this, to pay bills, to do this. He's not living up to that. Is it possible that if you put yourself in his shoes, that you can roll away that thing? Is it possible that it's also an expectation that you might need to remove completely? Leave him to be himself or herself. He meets it, good. He doesn't. Because people can still love you and not meet your expectation. It doesn't mean that he doesn't love you. It just simply means that this might not be the way he shows his own love. But let me give us one advice for that area. This issue about expectation, one of the positive way of solving that problem is to become open with each other and then be willing to learn each other's love languages. What it means is that the way you expect me to express love might be different from the way I express it. What communicates love to me might not be what communicates love to you. What communicates love to me, this particular woman might be holding her, hugging her, all of that. It does wonders to her person. What communicates, but you buy her a car, she's still complaining. You build her a house, but the man that is buying the car is because he loves his wife. His love language is gifts. The woman's love language is coming to sit down with her. Some of you, even if they buy you the whole world, it still doesn't mean anything. For another lady like you, a small gift, not as big as the one you collected, is enough to. But there are some of us, it's not material things. It's what he says, how he says it. Get your husband to know what your love language is. Get your wife. This is another topic which I can't get into. Get your wife to know what your love language is. Get the person to know what really moves you. A lot of communication is required in this area. And then also understand that there are some expectations. You looked at the guy, he's just not him. He's not like that. It doesn't mean he doesn't love you. Remove that image from your head. Make your marriage be happy. Because this issue about happiness and unhappiness is a mindset. It's just how the meaning you are reading into things and the meaning you are not reading into things that is frustrating your life. You just change your perception about things. You notice that you can be happy. Amen. Father, I thank you for tonight. Use these few words we have shared today to make marriages stronger. I know there are a lot of other things we're going to look at tomorrow that will help all of us. But use this to make our marriages stronger, make it more effective. The many waters that are hitting and barraging our relationship, trying to drown it, we declare today that these waters will not succeed. They will not. Move our love, our relationship beyond the yellow flame level. Move it into the white flame level, into matured love, into that type of love that cannot be knocked out by circumstances. Father, I pray for every family that is here and all those that will join us tomorrow, that this Valentine weekend of 2009, you're going to do something in our marriages and renew the wine of love, renew the wine of our relationship, renew the wine of our commitment that will propel these families into the realm of happiness, into the realm of fulfillment. Destroy every unrealistic expectations and destroy all those little foxes that are spoiling the vine. Thank you for answering this prayer. Help us to make the adjustments that we need to make to remain committed to each other, to remain committed to meeting each other's needs, to helping each other. We give you praise. We give you glory. In Jesus' name.
Have you been impacted by this message? Please share your experience with Pastor David Ogbueli. Email address dominionimagemedia@yahoo.com or call 017926879 0803 435 7959 0803 590 9900.